what's holding you back is not what you need to learn. What's holding you back is what you need to unlearn. Welcome to the Courageous Hustler podcast. I am your host, Sandra Ocasio from sandraocasio.com, founder and CEO of the Courageous Hustler Empowerment brand. Our mission is to empower you to recognize that you can become everything you've ever dreamed impossible in your life and embrace and embody the courageous hustler in you. In this community, fear does not stop our purpose. We just learn how to walk with it. To stay up to date on all upcoming episodes, make sure to subscribe, tune in each week. And with that being said, let's get into today's episode. Hello, Courageous Hustlers. Welcome to another episode. If you are new to the community, welcome. Today, we're going to talk about your next level and what your next level requires. Right? Your next level requires for you to unlearn some things. So how do we let go of what's keeping you small? And let's just jump right into it, right? I know for a fact, just because of all the research I've done with my analytics and all the things, that I know most of my audience is faith-based. If you have a different belief system, there's nothing wrong with that. But the reason I'm even mentioning this is because I do believe that we are out here praying for the next level. We want more impact. We want more income. We want more freedom. But let me ask you, are you really ready for this? Because you're wanting that next level of you, but what's holding you back is not what you need to learn. What's holding you back is what you need to unlearn. And so I really want to touch on that today, because some of those outdated beliefs, those toxic habits, that comfort zone mindset that you have, that's what's keeping you safe right now. And that's what's actually keeping you stuck as well. And you cannot step into the next version of yourself while dragging the weight of your old ways. And so today we want to talk about the real reason why you're feeling blocked and how to break free from that, and why it's time for you to stop wrestling with God as he's trying to pull you out of that. I really want for this to be a conversation where I want you to feel the love, but I also want you to feel slightly attacked. And that's just tough love. You cannot pray for growth while you're staying stuck in familiar places. Staying small isn't just limiting you, it's limiting the impact that you're trying to create. It's limiting the impact you're called to make. Your comfort zone, it's a cage. That's the truth. And every time you resist the change, you're reinforcing those bars. God can't bless the person you're pretending to be. He's waiting for you to show up as who he actually called you to be. So, listen, there was plenty of times, and obviously we all have a different relationship with God. But for me, there was plenty of moments where I kept asking God for more confirmation. Show me more signs, show me more, because I was not sure how I was supposed to listen to him. We all have a different relationship with God, and that's okay. I realized he was like, I've sent you so many confirmations. I've sent you so many, so many signs. And so like, I don't know how many more you need. And so it finally dawned on me. And so in this particular day, I was driving, it was super foggy. And I remember not being able to see the full road. It was just a little bit like I'm really horrible with numbers, but like I couldn't see no more than two cars ahead of me, like probably even just one car ahead of me, so I don't really know what that equates to feet for those of you that need specific numbers, but I was not following up too close, but then I was still able to see a car in front of me, and it wasn't going to be like it wasn't going to be a long time before I could actually, if I needed to like hit the brakes or something. So it was literally me taking one step forward. That's all I could possibly do. But the reason I'm saying this and the reason I'm sharing this is because we're constantly asking God to give us the full blueprint, to give us all the steps, to give us the whole clear road. And he's telling you, I need you to just move right now. I don't need to give you any more signs. I don't need to give you any more confirmation. I don't need to give you any more validation. I need you to take the first step. And that's what I heard in that moment where he's like, you have everything you need in this moment. And I do believe that in that moment, I recognize that he knows how I operate. If he was to give me all 10 steps that I need, I was going to get overwhelmed and probably quit. I obviously didn't. But the reason I'm sharing this with you is because some of you are hoping to see the whole blueprint before you actually take step one. And sometimes step one doesn't seem to actually make a lot of sense, but that's what you have to do. You have to just be obedient with that first step, and you will get clarity as you go, right? So, what do we need to unlearn, right? Because the old mindset can't build this new life that you're trying to live. So, it's time to do a little detox. And here's what goes into that. So, let's talk about the limiting beliefs. A lot of you are telling yourself, I'm not good enough. Okay. God doesn't call the qualified, he qualifies the called. If you are faith-based, you should know this. I need that one more certificate. I need that one more thing just because you're trying to validate yourself and thinking that people are going to need to see all these accolades. The reality is, in the 9 years that I've been in this online space, never once has anyone said, hey, before you do my marketing or before you do my website or before you do my funnel, I need to see what degree do you have. Never has anyone said, hey, before I take a marketing strategy from you, let me see your marketing degree. People rely on the fact that I have an expertise and they roll with that. I want you to remember this. You may be telling yourself, I don't deserve success. Again, a limiting belief. We rewrite that limiting by saying, I am worthy of every blessing assigned to me. You are worthy of this. Another one that Christians and faith-based people say is money is evil. I actually don't believe that. Money is a tool that amplifies my purpose. That's how to rewrite that limiting belief. Some of those toxic habits are, let's face it, we all do it, procrastination. You're not the only one. You're not alone here. But I'm sharing this because I am probably one of the biggest procrastinators ever. And I know this about me, and I'm learning more about the way my brain works, and I'm learning more about the way I work, and what are my optimal times of working, and what are my best days of the month to work. All of that takes into consideration when you're trying to be high performing, when you're trying to be more consistent. If you understand procrastination and you understand what can I do? I already know I have these toxic habits. How do I break out of them? How can I become better? Then you actually can take action and implement some things that are going to help you along the way. Another toxic habit that you need to break out of is people pleasing. You're saying yes to everyone while saying no to yourself. Let's not do that. Let's not do that to ourselves. So, what can we do to stop, to break away from people pleasing, create better boundaries? And we'll talk a little bit about this. The other one is playing small. And I mentioned this in a podcast episode, a few podcast episodes ago, where, you know, I kept hearing the way a client was talking about, oh, her little business and her little landing page. And stop playing small. Stop talking small over your life and stop speaking small over your business, right? Your light is meant to shine, not dim it to make others feel comfortable. You don't dilute your dopeness just to make people comfortable or to have people like you. I don't, if you feel uncomfortable with my dopeness, then maybe we should not be around each other. And that's okay. I am going to pray for you regardless if you wish me the opposite. None of this is to throw shade or anything like that. It's more to get you to understand that some of these things are holding you back. The fear-based thinking is, what if I fail? But what if you fly? What if you take off? What if this changes your whole life? What if this changes the generations that you want to? I'm thinking 7 generations ahead of me. What if I create something that's going to be so powerful that someone else can take over? I'm trying to break generational curses and I'm trying to create generational wealth. And you can't Step into that if you're constantly thinking, but what if I fail? I'm going to ask you, but what if you fly? What if you take off? What if it becomes the most incredible thing you do? So the other one is, what will people think? They're going to talk regardless. They're going to talk regardless if you're the greatest person on earth. Look at what they did to Jesus. Might as well give them something to talk about. Might as well just, hey, listen, you're going to talk regardless. I want you to break out of these things. That hustle until you're burnt out mentality, yeah, we're not going to do that anymore, right? It's time to move differently. It's time to operate and have a different posture so you can step into that next level, understanding that in this level, we don't have that mentality. I have a complete different definition of what a courageous hustler is, and it has nothing to do with having a hustle mentality, and it has everything to do with a mentality of being brave and unstoppable. You're not going to allow anything to stop you. Why do we need to unlearn some of these things? And unlearning really feels hard, but we need to push through that, right? Your brain is wired to resist change. And even when change is good for you, the mind creates familiar things. The mind craves that, right? The fear is trying to protect you, but safe and stagnation look very similar. Past patterns feel comfortable. Even though they're destructive, they let you feel comfortable. So let me remind you again, God didn't call you to stay comfortable. If you don't outgrow your old ways, you will outgrow your purpose. You're asking for a new level, but you're not willing to become the person who can handle that new level. And so I want you to take inventory of all of this. Unlearning isn't losing. Unlearning is making room for what actually serves you. And so how do we start taking action so we can unlearn all of the things that does not serve us, because you can't grow without letting go. And so the first one is call it out. Just like I called it out with the client who kept saying my little this, my little that, I called it out, and I guarantee you she does not think of her business as little anymore. In fact, anything that she does produce, I pray that she's thinking this is going to be amazing, right? You continue to put in the little thing, this little thing, and that little thing, and then you get little results, and then you're wondering why. So call it out so that you start shifting the mindset to thinking I'm working on something big. Even when I'm working on something like a small project, I don't call it a small project. I don't call it this little project over here. I say I'm working on a project. Let's unlearn that by calling it out. What beliefs and habits are keeping you stuck so that you can unlearn what you don't acknowledge, right? And so when you have that awareness, it really helps understand I really need to have a different posture here. And so the next one would be challenge the lies. Who told you that? Who told you that thing that you continue to believe? Why do you keep believing that? Why are you still believing what they're saying? Replace the old with the truth. Scripture, affirmations, real wisdom that aligns with that purpose that you're seeking, that purpose you're stepping into, right? And obviously, the next one would be take action. Taking action is going to minimize and subsidize the fear. Start, and again, it's not saying little, but take a small step. That habit of choosing differently is what's going to lead to transformation. But you have to create that repetition for yourself, right? Stop asking for the next level, or stop asking for that next level blessing with the old level habit. It's time to move different. It's really time to actually create something different for yourself. So some practical tools that I want you to continue exercising. I've given you some practical tools in some of the other episodes, but I'm going to continue giving them. I'm giving you a journal prompt because I think I'm going to get into a habit of giving a journal prompt on every episode, because I do think that it just gives you something to reflect on, right? So What is one limiting belief, habit, or fear that you want to unlearn? That's going to be your journal prompt. I'll give you another one. What would change if you let it go today? What would change if I let this go today? If you need accountability, find a mentor, find a coach, find a friend who will call you out when you start slipping back into those old patterns. Hey, listen, email me. I will call you out. I will make sure I remind you to come back to it. And the obvious thing is always visualize that. Close your eyes and picture yourself in that next level. How does she think? How does she move? How do you start becoming her? I constantly remind you of this because we can't get to where we're trying to go when we're blindfolded. I pray that you see with 2020 vision for your life, for your future self, for your future business as you're creating future opportunities. Your next level is already yours. It's waiting on you, but if you want it, you have to let go of what's keeping you small. God is doing something new in you, and I know that you've been waiting for this, but the question is, are you going to keep holding on to this old version of you? So let's be real with yourself. Let's be real with what do you need to unlearn today so that you can step into that person tomorrow or next week or whenever that looks like, right? I want to leave you with that journal prompt. I will remind you again what that journal prompt was. It's what is one limiting belief, habit, or fear that you need to unlearn immediately. The second journal prompt was what would change if you let that go today? So if you guys want to share with me, please, I challenge you to go ahead and reach out to me. Identify that one thing that you need to unlearn. If you would like to share, you could find me at info@courageoushustler.com. Like always, share with a friend. If you feel like this episode blessed you in any way, it made you come to a realization on some things you're telling yourself, share with a friend who needs to hear this message. And then as always, make sure that you tune in next week for another episode. All right, friends, until next time, stay courageous. I really hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. As always, please go ahead and follow us on your favorite social media platform. You can find those handles here in the show notes. We would love to hear from you. Make sure to subscribe so that you get notified when the next episode drops. Until then, stay courageous.